welcome to Sacred Heart Music Center in Duluth, Minnesota for the latest installment of the Live from the Heart Songwriters and Storytellers series. My name is Malachi Coons, and I'll be your host for the night. This live stream feature is supported by the Minnesota State Arts Board and will highlight some of the brightest music talent in the Northland. Each episode of this monthly series will focus on songwriters, their creative process, and some stories behind their work. Tonight's guest is Duluth singer-songwriter Cory Coffman. Cory has been a fixture of the Duluth music scene for over 15 years, with much of that time spent drumming in groups such as Philip of Nazareth, Tenderness, and many more. Throughout this time, Cory was also a singer-songwriter in secret, and in 2018 we got to hear that side of his music when his pop rock group, the Cuckoo Bees, released their debut album. 2 years later, this past November, Cory took a further step as a singer-songwriter, releasing his debut solo album, Canvas and Color. With songwriting that easily swings between lighthearted and heavy, he tackles subjects such as love, death, and climate change in a style that can be understood by many. And tonight, we'll all get to hear some of those songs while we find out more about his creative process. Ladies and gentlemen, Cory Coffman.
I'm going to start with the song that's my grandma's favorite. It's called Raspberry Seeds. Try not to think about tomorrow, 'cause I don't know what should become of me. If I go on wondering, I might forget about today. I find the things that make me happy are in the simple things you say. I don't really want to leave now, so please don't take me today. 'Cause all I know is I've got raspberry seeds stuck in my teeth, and there's a few hours till the sun goes down. I feel the warmth of the fire now. This is where I wanna be. Been on the run for a while now. I carry no sour grapes, just a pocket full of daydreams and a hint of weary on my face. Been on the run for a while now. I've seen all there is to see. Just another stupid city, a beaten path, a broken dream. 'Cause all I know is I've got raspberry seeds stuck in my teeth, and there's a few hours till the sun goes down. I feel the warmth of the fire now. This is where I wanna be. The blue turns to gray before the moon begins to rise. Too many worn out years, too many worn out lies. I stand before you, I'm a wanted criminal. There's only one thing that I know. Been on the run for a while now. I carry no sour grapes, just a pocket full of daydreams and a hint of weary on my face. Been on the run for a while now, 'cause I don't know what else to do except for tell you that I'm sorry. I did it all because of you. 'Cause all I know is I've got raspberry seeds stuck in my teeth, and there's a few hours till the sun goes down. I feel the warmth of the fire now. This is where I wanna be. This is where I wanna be. Thank you. It's okay. You're allowed to clap. There's a mini little audience here with us this evening, which is my family. I got 2 grandmas, a dad, a cousin, and a partner slash manager slash all of the above. Anyways, I'm happy to be here this evening. I appreciate the invite, and I'm going to play 2 more songs before we get into some Q&A time. And this next song is called Midnight Calling. I'm starting off with a few old ones that, well, older, they're not super old. They're on the album I currently have out. I'm going to start out with those, and then later on I will move to new ones that are not released yet. Never thought I'd be here, still taking my time, still caught in a web of plans, of dreams, of wishes of mine. Do you remember the stories we tell of where we would be in years to come as the cool breeze fell across my face? I listened to the old trees shake as the wind came through. You laughed at me when I told you what they said. You were meant to be the biggest of them all. Even the sun next to you would seem small. Now everything's on fire. Please open the door. Everything you left behind has melted through the floor. But I still remember the day you moved on, caught up in the wind that took your breath and made you strong. It's been 5 years since I've seen you. It didn't seem like it was the end. I used to keep a picture of you on a wall inside my head, so I wouldn't waste the chance of seeing you again. When I burnt the bridge, I burnt myself instead. Midnight, midnight calling. Midnight, midnight calling. And if you hear this on the radio and it makes your heart sink down and you reach for your phone, well, I ain't never been afraid before, is what I used to think then, but that couldn't have been more untrue. Here's what the sign said so many years before on my own. It was you I was waiting for. I guess the sign burnt too. I never thought I'd be here, same place as before, the place we knew well when we were young is ours no more. And as I lay here, drowning in song, the wind that once blew about my back has been long gone. You crossed the plains and sailed the seas and seen the lights in every big city, but you'll never miss the fire that we set. We were meant to be the biggest of them all. Even the sun next to us would seem small. Thank you. All right, and this next one is called I've Been Thinking. It is also on my most recent recording. I've been thinking about nothing, 'cause nothing's never been a problem for me. Nothing ever seems to bring me trouble, 'cause nothing sets me free. Free to think about moving to the jungle, living in the trees, carrying a stick. No cell phone to keep track of me, 'cause I'm too quick. Do your best to live on top. That's what they taught me to say. 'Cause on top of is your happiness, and you can buy it in bulk. As long as you're a member. I've been singing to no one, 'cause nobody's been singing to me. Too many fishes got up in the internet, and I'm alone at sea. Swimming in the bay, swimming through plastic, chasing money like a hypocrite. I feel the waves take a hold of my brain, and I'm too lazy to get sick of it. I do my best to just go with it. That's what they want me to say. 'Cause on top of the big pile of lives the ones who roll in it. So take out my brain and put it on a shelf, stick a date on it for 7 days out, because oh, it's going bad. The chemicals listed don't know what they mean, but I put all my trust into everything, because oh, it's all I have. And oh, then take one more dab. And oh, if you're feeling sad. And oh, then take one more dab. And oh, you're feeling sad. Do you remember? I turn the TV on, turn up the volume. I watch my favorite show that makes me sad. I feel the commercials with all the pretty people, put me in a trance. Well, no more because I'll be leaving everything I have behind. Take a train out west until the end, and then get on a plane and fly far beyond the concrete's jurisdiction. I'll build a big garden, and I'll live on my own volition, and I'm happy until the end. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now, Q&A time.
So, how's it going, Cory?
Hey, it's good. It's good. Warm. I definitely overdressed. I decided to wear a wool long sleeve today.
Yeah, it's a little warm in here, but still, it's great to hear those songs to start off. It's been a busy weekend for you, but how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be here. This is always an amazing place to perform, of course. So getting the invite to come do this was very happy to get that. And it's been good. I'm coming off a string of performances, and this is a good last one to end on for the week.
Yeah, we're really happy that you're able to join us tonight. So this is a singer-songwriter showcase, and we'll get into that shortly, but you have been playing music for a long time, not all of that, at least forward-facing, that we can all see writing songs. So when you were getting into music, near the beginning, you were a drummer for a long time. Do you want to talk about, right when you were getting into it, did drumming seem like this was what you wanted to do forever? Did you always know that you wanted to transition to be in the front? Or can you talk about those early days?
Right. Well, first off, no, I didn't have any sort of plan or grand scheme. I did pick up drums early on, and a big reason of that is I come from a family of percussionists and drummers, actually, and there's two of them here this evening. And so I grew up in a house that had a drum set up, and so it was just natural that I got behind that. And so it's been kind of when I was this big, I started banging around, and then so I think I knew I always wanted to, and I had an older brother that was playing in like a heavy metal band when I was young, so that was influencing me. I had my dad, who's here this evening, he's always very happy when I bring this up, but he used to play in a hair metal band, and that could be a whole other feature show about that. But then my grandparents are percussionists. One of the grandmas are here this evening. She's a percussionist as well. And then I have a grandfather who was a percussionist as well. There's something in the blood, I think. I don't know, but yeah. My grandpa taught up at UMD for a number of years. Anyways, so that's how I guess I didn't have a choice. It's just I was gonna play drums.
Yeah, it seems like if there was ever anyone where an instrument was going to come naturally, it would be you with drumming. So at what point did you make this switch, or did you have that realization? And also, if that was set up to be something that would come so naturally, was it a little tougher to get
First off, it is something I'm still getting used to a little bit. The big obvious reason of being up front with a microphone, and but no, when I was in high school, I had a time where I actually wanted to play guitar, and I took lessons from Jimmy Cooper up at UMD, and I hope he doesn't remember that, because I don't think I was a great student, but I remember having this everyone plays drums in our family, I'm going to play guitar instead, and I kind of started that, and then and at that time, then I was forming bands with friends of mine, and I think we were in middle school or just getting into high school, and eventually one of these little formations of those bands, because we changed personnel and band name probably once a month back then, and anyways, we had a drummer who could no longer play with us, so then they all looked at me and were like, well, you know how to play drums, and then I said sure, and then I played, and then that's what I did all for the next that took me through high school and beyond. But the high school days, I was a punk rocker for sure, and which you mentioned one of those groups, Philip of Nazareth. But and then after high school, I ended up going to school. I got a degree in percussion performance, and then that really changed my look and my attitude towards everything, and then with that, so all along though, I continued to play guitar on the side, and I wrote songs. These bands that I was playing in, I was a big, usually the songwriter for them, and or one of them, and then so I always did it on the side. But then since high school, I just kind of have stockpiled a list of my own songs that I really hadn't done anything with, because I tend to write cheesy love songs at times, and those weren't quite cutting it for the punk bands I was playing in and whatnot. So I have a list now, and so it's sort of in secret. No, not many people around here knew me as that. They knew me as a drummer, of course, and and then it's been a slow transition into doing it as my main thing. Cuckoo Bees, that group you mentioned, was my first step in that direction, and I'm glad I took that step, and that was a trio, and that really helped make me comfortable with being up front, being with a microphone right in front of your face, and what to do and say and how to act with that. And it's something I'm still learning. I've noticed that sometimes I can get rambly because I think I like to say it's all those years hiding behind a drum set. I've just built up all these brilliant things to say.
That's the drummer's job.
Yeah. So I was just really wishing I had a microphone. That's not true at all, but anyways, it's something that I'm still getting used to and will continue to get better at for sure.
Yeah, rambling's okay. We want this to be a conversation about your singer-song, So let's get into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty of your songwriting. You say that you had this stockpile. So you had a lot of songs. Is that what made up that first Cuckoo Bees album, or did you write some songs specifically for it?
So a lot of those went straight into becoming Cuckoo Bee songs. I changed them a little bit, of course, and the Cuckoo Bees, what was unique about that group was we featured a xylophone, so I wrote a lot of xylophone parts for songs, and I think everything was, there were maybe 2 or 3 I think that were newer that I came up with, but other than that, some, like one song in particular I think I wrote when I was in 11th grade, and of course it changed, but then ended up recording it, more 10 years later, I guess, more than 10 years later probably.
Would you say that's the normal for the songs that you have? Are they are many of them very lengthy things lately? Have you tried to, if you need to sit down and you want to make a song come out,
well,
where do you start? Or for you, is it all, these lengthy, over time, slowly changing them types of process?
It's a mix. It's a mix. Luckily, I'm still. I'm finding out it's kind of a good problem to have an already complete batch or near complete batch of songs, because then there's no shortage of things to work on, and that's been kind of nice to fall back on. And I'm still playing catch up a little bit with that. I'm still writing new stuff as well. I do rely a little bit on time. I think sometimes I do that a little too often and let things just linger, and I have so many unfinished, or just a chorus to this song, or just a verse to that song, and it's been that way for years. And then every now and again I'll come back, because I'll keep little voice memos on my phone or little demos on my computer, and then totally forget about a certain song, and then come back to it and like, whoa, and kind of with a fresh new look, and then finish things that way. I'm not, but I have had it happen where just sit down and something comes really quickly, and I'm working on one that has a deadline, and so that's kind of put me to the test a little bit. I'm definitely not done with that one, but I have until September 9th, so there's still a little time.
Yeah, you've still got some time. It must be challenging to switch from, being able to work on those for so long to now that you are, a solo artist, or however you are performing, that now you might have to start putting them out in a faster manner. You mentioned lots of love songs, kind of what you're writing. A lot of your songs are about personal relationships, things in your life. Is that the main inspiration for your songwriting?
That's a good, yeah, I do draw a lot from my own experience. Also, I take from other people's experiences, other people's stories I've heard, and then sometimes I just make something up. So there's some fiction involved too, or kind of mixing all of that, taking something that happened to me, but really maybe having fun with it a little bit, and that's always changing, actually, and that's kind of a fun part about this, is that there are no rules, and it's kind of new each and every time, and which can be frustrating sometimes, but also it's keeps it unique and different, and I don't have like just a set of rules to follow and then get to the end and I'm done. I sometimes wish I did, but not yet.
Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit more about that difference of making a song up versus when you write a song that's very, about a relationship in your life or something that's happened to you? Do you want to talk a little bit about the differences? Do you find one of those easier than the other, or just a different kind of creativity involved?
Yeah, different type for sure. Sometimes the personal stories come much quicker. Those are the type that maybe I'll sit down and spend a night, and most of it comes all in one sitting, and then just because I'm telling a story, so it's easier, I guess, in that regards, or I'm more focused on language than I am like, well, what's it going to be about? I already know what it's going to be about, and then. But if I'm totally making up something, sometimes I will take a little longer with that, I've noticed, because I can really fight with what am I actually trying to say, or what do I do, and then go back and forth, and the whole battle of I'll like it one night and then come to it the next day and I'll hate it, and then back and forth, and Alyssa has to listen to me whine about that at home sometimes. I hate this song. Then come back to it. No, this one, I like this one a lot. And it's a roller coaster sometimes.
Yeah, so you've got these snippets in your phone, on your computer, wherever they are. Is that just about an everyday occurrence that you come back the next night and think, well, what was I doing? Or come back and think, wow, I was a genius last night.
Right. No, sometimes it's more in waves for me. Like a particular week, maybe I'll be really in the groove of working on stuff, and then sometimes I'll let it sit. Sometimes, I mean, getting busy performing makes me take breaks from it for sure, and I'm still figuring all this out, kind of like how to manage and how do I deal with a deadline. I have a deadline coming up, and so I'm kind of new at that and trying to work through that a little bit, and yeah, I think that's what intrigues me, especially just about music in general, is that you never learn, you never get to a point where like, I have discovered it, I've got the key, I'm set now, and I can just cruise through the rest of my life having learned what I know now. It's different. It's always a work in progress. You're always there's always room for improving, and there's always new things to learn. And I mean, the biggest thing I learned from going to school for music was basically I came out realizing how much I don't know, you know, and that intrigues me, I think. So it's always going to be something to work on, and you know, I mean, I hope to get better as I go, but I don't know. It never feels like it, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. I think some people could relate to that, but it's interesting. I have an interesting relationship to music, that's for sure.
Yeah, so some of the songs that were on the Cuckoo Bees album, they showed up again on your latest Canvas in Color. Is that a part of that? Did you see them as there are improvements that can be made here to how these are done, or was that part of that continuum? The
first thought behind that was that I had put it was a lot of work going into that Cuckoo Bee album. I spent over a year, I think, throughout getting the recording completed, and it was expensive and time consuming, and my first time doing this, and then we had a good little push, and we had some successes, and we played around a bit, but then it shortly after came to a close, and then I was, after having put so much time into that, I was sort of wishing that it wouldn't have just stopped right then, and I think I had it in my mind that I could breathe new life into a few of these, do a simpler arrangement I did it with 4 songs from the Cuckoo Bee album, and I just thought, I don't know, I didn't want to just let those songs die, I guess, and it's like, let's do something a little different with them, and I was kind of back and forth about that idea, and then I decided to do it because they're my songs, and I can do whatever I want with them, so there's a little bit of freedom with that. And I'm happy I did, and I think it might be something fun to look on later, just having different versions of songs. Cuckoo Bee with the wild xylophone stuff happening and marimba, and although this most recent album I did put some xylophone on, I couldn't resist. I got that xylophone from one of my grandmas sitting with us today, and yeah, having it around. I'm a percussion nerd still. I think like a percussionist. Most the songs that I write, I write them because I write songs that would be fun to drum to, or that I think would be fun to drum to, and yeah, it really. Having that background has definitely steered how my songwriting is, and especially rhythm is my strength, I would say, especially with guitar. You won't hear me take a guitar solo, but I'm a rhythm player. I play it like a percussion instrument, and Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this tangent, but
We'll just follow that where it goes. I think your lyrics as well have a rhythmic style. When you're writing music, do you come up with the melody early on, or is that something where you have the flow and the rhythm and the lyrics or the idea in the song that you want, and then you put it to a melody that suits it? Or what's the order there with kind of, as you're the one playing all the instruments
Right.
on Canvas and Color, so kind of how does your ordering go?
Yeah. For the initial writing, that changes. Sometimes I'll have maybe come up with a great lyrical line I like a lot, and then I figure out, well, what can I do with that? And that sounds like it could be the chorus to something, and then I start from that, and then find a melody that fits that nicely. And other times I have a chord progression in my mind, and then I come up with a melody, and then the words come after, and just really figure out how they fit into that. And that's a good question, actually. I wonder if it's one way more than the other. I think it's oftentimes I will come up with. There might be a few words that I have in mind, but then I come up with this melody, and then that really dictates like the structure of what the lyrics will be, and then from there I fill in the blank, and it's never linear. I've got this great, this would be so nice for the end of a song, and then fill in the blanks. But I think melody does dictate probably words a little more, but that's a good question. I haven't thought too hard about that.
Yeah, when I think about that, I think about Mother Earth, for instance. Maybe one of the more, there's a little more energy and anger to it, and it kind of came out as this bluesy rocker, right? Canvas and Color is a love song. It's a little more soul pop.
Yep.
So
Definitely. Mother Earth, I remember that I just playing a kind of funky, bluesy riff, and then melody kind of came from that, and then words came after. That's how that one happened.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna hear some more songs from you.
Yeah.
These ones are gonna be some new ones, I take it.
Yeah. So now, I'm gonna move to things I have yet to record and release. I hope you enjoy.
Awesome.
Thank you. So this first one, I like introducing as it's a song about transcending space and time for any space-time fans out there. But really what I mean by that is that it is a love song. And it's new, and I call this one Lissa Jean. The last time I first saw you, I puked. 'Cause I saw the future like a memory I knew. Those sleepy blue eyes, soft as a sunrise, took me back a century or two. This time was in my favorite spot. My friend's cafe I used to hang around a lot. We found out we were both leaving on a trip tomorrow. Me to Colorado, you to Utah. You to Utah. You to Utah. Even with a mountain in the way, I thought about you on my best friend's wedding day. I pictured you on a rainy beach, no shoes and frozen feet, burning up a hole in early May. Listen, Jean, do you know how much you mean? A million years ago, I found my queen. I know we will forever intertwine. We're burning up a hole through space-time. Listen, Jean, do you know how much you mean? You're all dressed up, waiting for me. I know you hate running behind, but I'm thinking about our hole through space-time. Thank you. This next one is near and dear to me. I grew up out in West Duluth, and this is a story about that. I call it Great Dane. I never thought I'd lose you. I guess you never do. When I think about growing up back in West Duluth, we used to party like the movies. Everyone was a star. You were the first to get your license. We piled into your car, running wild like mavericks, singing songs that we knew, chasing all our dreams away, laughing all the way through until the morning. It always came too soon, working out the world's problems, sleeping until noon. I never thought I'd lose you. I never thought I'd lose you. We didn't plan for the future. but it was time to begin. Some of us started moving on. That's when you started sinking. Headed down to the bottom, I headed off to school. I didn't think there was a problem. I should have seen the cues. 3 a.m. in the backyard. Thought it was kinda odd. You were standing in the rain. You were yelling at God. You never were religious, but your tears were true. I wish I could have had an answer, but we never really do. I never thought I'd lose you. I never thought I'd lose you. It got complicated. They put you in the hospital. They told you you were schizo, sent you home with some pills. The pills didn't do you good, and when you tried to abstain, then came hallucinations. You got arrested again. I got sick on the airplane. It came down too fast. I wanted to run away, but it didn't last. I came down for your birthday and tried to help you through. We were watching the twins play, drinking apple juice. I never thought I'd lose you. I never thought I'd lose you. Thank you. Thank you. I know that one's kind of a bummer, so I'll follow it with something happy. But I realized that I only write sad songs, so I'm working on that. Here's this next one. I'm part of a theater production called Take It With You. It's a live radio show done in front of an audience, and it's recorded and put on the podcast right here in Duluth. And of course, this past year, the last season was canceled, so I decided to write a song that would cheer up the cast and crew, who were all very sad about the season being canceled. And so I call it Take It With You. It is a ragtime xylophone feature. I will do my best to sing the xylophone part. Give me a dance, I'll shake it with you. Pour me a shot, I'll take it with you. If you have a curfew, I'd break it with you till the sun comes up. Call in sick, I'll fake it with you. Mess up the bed, I'll make it with you. Roll out the dough, I'll bake it with you. Nice and slow. Let's go out tonight, darling. Fill the seats for two. Let the curtain rise on something new. You're my 11 o'clock number. That means I've fallen for you. Here's the key to my everything. You can take it with you. It's cooler on the xylophone. hot summer day, I'll lake it with you. If you were a duck, I'd drake it with you. If you lose your clothes, I'd go naked with you. If you feel the sun, when the wind blows, I'll stake it with you. If the leaves fall, I'll rake it with you. No one is perfect, I'll mistake it with you. We'll be alright. Let's go out tonight, darling. Fill the seats for two. Let the curtain rise on something new. You're my 11 o'clock number. That means I'm falling for you. Here's the key to my everything. You can take it with you. Here's the key to my everything. You can take it with you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And I threw in a nerdy theater term into that one. That is 11 o'clock number, and that means, just a fun fact, back in the day, shows used to start around 8 and went until about 11:30, and that point in the show when this one character who hated this character, they found out that they actually love each other, and then they have that moment in that song that was always about the end of the show, and they called that the 11 o'clock number. So there, you learn to, I don't think it's relevant anymore, but I decided to put that in there. I'm gonna play one more before we invite Malachi back up here. This is a new one I think I'm calling Holes in the Sky. Do you remember falling fast asleep, hanging on in the driver's seat, going 65? You were making good time on that famous highway, following the shore. I still remember the first night that we danced. You were talking loud, you had big plans. You weren't good enough to drive. I made you get in my car. Frozen puke across the door, it was written in the stars. Ain't it funny how simple it can be? It's making me wonder why. Maybe someday we will find a place up there, burning holes in the sky. Yesterday, tomorrow was your birthday. On the eve, I can never sleep. You were leaving town that night. I wanted to come with you. I can picture what you'd say if you saw how far you flew. Ain't it funny how simple it can be? It's making me wonder why. Maybe someday we will find a place up there, burning holes in the sky. Thank you. I never quite trust that guitar stand.
Yeah, I've seen
I'm
you
always like,
looking back at it a couple
Yeah,
times.
don't-
If you hear a note.
Sometimes it moves.
Well, that was so nice to hear those 4 new songs. It's sounding great in this wonderful space. And
Thank you. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I catch myself here and there, kind of paying attention to hearing how long the sustain is, and then it's kind of messing me up. It's like, wait, no, think about you're right here, right now. Don't worry about over there and up there. But it sounds so cool. I love it.
so do you want to take us through maybe that last song that we just heard? You said you're thinking of calling it Holes in the Sky. So one song fresh in our minds, the story of that song. How you wrote it, how it came to you.
So that one, I am going to call it Holes in the Sky. I'll have a working title, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll change it later, but then it always ends up staying the working title. That one, that one is an example of me taking, it's not like word for word about an actual story that I know, but I based it loosely, or started and got the whole idea of a story. A friend of mine that I grew up with, who was in a bad car accident, and a group of kids were in this car, and one didn't make it, unfortunately, and one of my buddies, though, he did, and it really changed his life. And so I was drawing from that. I was thinking about that, and then I spun it and played with it, and changed the setting of it, and made it about kind of like a 2-person relationship, me and the other person, and so that's an example of how I'll take a story and fictionalize it a little bit, and dramatize it, I guess, too. Not that needs any more drama, of course, but so it's like, I guess, there's a word for that, isn't there? Something fiction, where it's like, Anyways, so that's not like a word for word account of something I went through. It's rather I kind of got the feelings and the general idea of it, but then I created the story and created the characters, and made it different. Like, I wasn't just picturing the friend that I knew back then the entire time. I just drew from that feeling and went from there, I guess.
Yeah, even with, as you were saying, you've added to it, changed it. I would imagine there's some heaviness to sharing stories that involve other people. Yeah, do you feel, how does that feel? Like, the act of bringing these stories and you being the sharer of them to a wider audience, or at least,
That took me a little getting used to, and I think this song that we're talking about, I think that's partly why I did. That's why I changed it. I didn't want to make it straight up. About that. But that has been something that at first, an example of a song that is totally true is I think it was the second one I played in this last group, Great Dane, and that's true. That's a direct story of what happened, and from my point of view, and that one I was a little bit, how's this gonna go over, and kind of worried about that a little bit, but I've gotten better about being okay with that and sharing it. Because if you write a song about a friend, you have all these other friends that know them too, and it's a close-knit community. So I was a little worried about that at first, but then everyone really, really liked it and responded well to it, and I thought it was okay, and I wasn't saying anything bad in it, so I think it's that is an interesting thing though that I have thought about quite a bit. Like if I am gonna write about someone I know, like how do I change that a little bit? How do I disguise that, or do I just go for it and that's what it is? And I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to that. I've done both so far, and so far it's worked out. And
yeah, and it is a tight-knit community.
Especially in Duluth. Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you talk a little bit about maybe some other songwriters here in Duluth? You spent a lot of time in the Duluth music scene, seen a lot of different people. Just kind of how this area maybe has influenced your songwriting, and then specifically some songwriters that are a part of our scene.
Yeah, there's a lot. Duluth is a unique, for the size of it and the amount of artists and musicians and original artists and musicians. That has. Well, who should I know? There's a handful I really look up to around here. One is Jeffrey James. Do you know Jeffrey James? Yeah, he's one of my favorites. He's been around for a long time. Everything about him I like. How his stage presence, how he performs, his lyrics, just everything I really love, and I wish he'd perform more. But who else is a?
Right away, I see like a parallel, and you both bring a lot of there's humor in your lyrics, while just and you aren't afraid to delve into deeper, more heavier subjects. Is that something that you set out to do, or just there is a lot of humor that comes through at the same time?
Yeah, there's I like funny things, and I have written some lighthearted, funny songs, of course, and I'm kind of figuring out how to balance that. I don't know if I always need to. Like in this instance, I followed a more melancholy, sad song with like a lighthearted, happy song, and sometimes I'll do that, but I think I'm not really concerning myself with that so much. I might package things together, like I've been saying I'm gonna put an album together that just features my more lighthearted, funny songs, and they tend to be more folky, country. That one that I played earlier was kind of old-timey, ragtimey feel, and I think I will do it that way. I've joked for so long that how I'm going to put them together and call it my greatest hits album. Maybe I will. I'll title it that. Why not? But I don't know. I just write I focus one song at a time. I'm not really worried about how does this work with the rest, and why did I write that? Sometimes I feel like writing a goofy song, and sometimes I feel like writing a sorry, sad song, and I forgot what question I was even responding to there.
It was about humor in music. Before you had been talking about other local songwriters that were
right. Yeah, I do think there's space for humor in music. I think it's fun, and maybe I'll gear some towards children's songs someday or something. But I enjoy it. I think I like it too. That's one thing I like about Jeff is his humor, and then it's kind of sweet how real he can be. And yeah, other songwriters around here though, there are a lot. Who else have I looked up to quite a bit? Dan Dresser, who's a good friend of mine. I like him a lot. He writes great songs. Of course, I shouldn't, not to leave anybody out. There's a lot of great songwriters around here, though. Of course, I know you just had Laura here, Superior Siren. She's fantastic. And who else has influenced me, though? I'd say Dan has influenced me just because we're close and we're friends, and so we talk a lot about it. And Jason Wusso is another one who, from Woodblind, him and Vaco, we're close, so they influence me just because we talk music when we're around each other, and then of course a dear friend of mine, Antone Jimenez from Red Mountain. Yeah. He's one of my favorites. He has a way with words, and I enjoyed playing with Red Mountain all that time, and maybe someday we'll play again, but he's been a big influence on me, and pretty much in the groups that I performed in, I've always enjoyed those writers. Peter Whittrack with Tenderness, and Max Molesky, he's a fantastic writer too. I'm telling you, I could keep going on and on.
That seems
there's
like
so many
plenty.
in
I
this
think
area.
you've checked all the boxes, so no one will come calling after this performance. Now looking back, you had all that time to see all these different artists. I'm sure you saw many people in play Duluth many times, both as the drummer and not. Are you happy that, looking back, are you glad that it took that kind of route in order to really work on your songwriting and be able to absorb so many other?
Yeah, I'm happy. I think I got so much from all the different acts I performed with, which there is a wide range of genre, and so I draw from all that in my own writing. Sometimes maybe a little too much, where like one song will be something kind of bossa nova sounding that I've really been playing in Tenderness so long, that's what we played, and then and I do find that my background with all the classical stuff as well, jazz stuff as well, it all has influenced me, and I'm glad that I've gone through that over the last decade, and because it's really given me a lot to draw from, and it's fun. It's just a bigger palette, I guess. And
yeah, I think that your music, as it moves between genres and topics, both heavy and light, it always still sounds like you. So I think that makes that transition,
good.
A little. It's not so abrupt because it's always, clearly a Cory Coffman song.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. I've worried a little bit about that, about being a little too dramatic in changes that it might turn people off. But I'm glad to hear you say that.
You're welcome. I think more and more people are listening to many different. People aren't stuck in genres.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know. That could be totally wrong.
No, people. I've mentioned this to Alyssa, of course, who hears all of my concerns and frustrations or worries, and she says the same thing. Just write what you're going to write. People like it, and don't worry about. I've been in, like I mentioned, how I might package humor together in like an album project, and Maybe I don't need to worry about that so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
So it seems like Lissa is the first check. Do you have any other does she add some editing to your songs? Is she kind of the final check?
She can, yeah. Sometimes for better or for worse, sometimes I can get a lot out of her reaction playing something for her the first time, and she's become more honest with me too, which I appreciate, and and she's the one that's around and hearing it so much and has to hear the same songs over and over again. Really just, I don't know if there's a couple other friends that I'll share things with and to get feedback, but she's probably my first check to see if is this worth it, is this and she's got good feedback. Yeah,
I think whatever she's doing, it's working out.
Great.
I think we're gonna hear one more song.
Yeah.
You're gonna play us out.
Yep.
Thanks again to Cory Coffman for appearing on the Live from the Heart Songwriters, Storytellers series. Thank you to Eric Swanson for running the sound and Jose Leon and crew for video production. Live from the Heart is brought to you by Sacred Heart Music Center with funding from the Minnesota State Arts Board. We have 2 Songwriter Storyteller shows scheduled in September. Colleen Myrie of Boss Mama and the Jebberhooch will perform on September 12th, and Lila Abukader is scheduled for Tuesday, September 14th. Also check the Sacred Heart website for a live audience concert schedule beginning September 10th with the Cactus Blossoms. All events will require proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test within 3 days. Now, with one more song, Cory Coffman.
Washed up on a Monday morning, the seagulls dragged me in. I try to pick up the sandy pieces, but I lose them. Pieces of my memory sinking, I forgot how to swim. The ship crashed 'cause the captain was wasted, and I flew in, and I flew in. Come with me, this will be the last time I breathe. You will be my last. A whirlwind of crowds and double vision, we drank the whole night in. Bright party lights and cocaine people all moving. Chasing after you down the shoreline, my shoes were full of sand. I ran into you and we went flying, and I knew then, and I knew then, and I knew then, and I knew. Goddamn, I never felt this way before, and I don't know how long we have, but will you love me like sleeping with the fish tonight. Oh, well, goddamn, I never felt so free. Will you run on the edge with me? Will you love me like it was the last time? And when I slip and fall into the sea and I can't remember anything, will you love me like it was the last time? Will you love me like? Will you love me like? Will you love me like it was the last time? Washed up on a Monday morning, the seagulls dragged me in. My body lying in the scattered pieces, and I'm breathing, and I'm breathing. Thank you.